I never expected a celebration. Condemnation, a rebuke, some kind of retort. But a celebration? No. I never expected a celebration. When I first decided to leave, when I first approached Father and asked him for my inheritance, he didn't yell, he didn't scream, he didn't even try to reason with me. Yeah, there were tears in his eyes, but he handed me my inheritance anyway, and he said, "Son, I love you. Be careful." Yeah, I remember the day I tried to come home, the day I decided that I needed to go back. I was feeding the pigs. Pigs? Me? What kind of a good Jew goes and hangs out with pigs? But that's what I was doing. I was feeding the pigs, and I was so hungry. I was so hungry. I remember when my bosses, when my supervisors weren't watching, I used to lick my fingers. I used to suck up the juices of the slop that I was giving the pigs. I was so hungry. I decided within myself, I decided that I would go home and that I would beg to become one of his slaves. I was going to beg to be one of Father's slaves. All of his servants had more than enough anyway. It would have been nothing for me. When I very first started that long journey home, I was so scared. There were so many thoughts in my mind. I wondered, would he accept me? Would he let me be one of his slaves? Would he let me set foot back on his property? Haha, and that brother of mine, what was he going to say? But I decided I had to go anyway. I decided I was going to take that journey. I decided I was going to take that first step, and I was going to go home. I remember going home alone, me and my thoughts, my rumbling stomach. There must have been a million butterflies in my stomach. The closer I got to home, the more active those butterflies became. My stomach began to turn. It was in knots. I was so nervous. I began to perspire. So scared. There must have been at least a dozen times that I thought about turning around and going back. It would have been easier to talk to my supervisors. It would have been easier to talk to my masters and try to get them to take me back than to go and face my father. But I carried on. The closer I got to home, the more nervous I became. My heart was pounding. I was so scared. I remember I was on that last leg of my journey. I was rehearsing the speech again and again in my head. I was going to say, "Father, I've sinned before God. I've sinned before you. Make me like one of your hired servants. Take me back as a slave." As I rehearsed the speech, I realized I was on the last road, the road that was going to lead home. It was now or never. It was my last chance to talk myself into turning and going back. But I went forward anyway. I remember when I made that last turn, just as I turned that last bend, it was then that I saw him. Well, I saw his silhouette in the driveway, pacing back and forth, and the closer I got, I could make out his face. There were tears in his eyes. He seemed angry. He seemed upset. Just as I was going to turn and run, he turned and he saw me. It wasn't at all what I expected. Wasn't what I expected at all. He ran to me. He ran to meet me, and instead of the chastisement I expected, instead of the yelling and the rebuke I expected, he threw his arms around me and he kissed my neck. My father, the strong one, sobbing on my shoulder. And he just kept saying, my son, my son, my son, over and over again. He kept saying, my son. I tried to interrupt, but it was no use. Father, I've sinned. Make me a servant. But he'd have no part of it. It's not what I expected at all. Bring my best robe, put it on my son. Bring a ring for his finger. And put shoes on his feet. Slaves would be barefoot. I was going to have shoes. I was free to come and go as I wanted. When Dad's servants knelt down with that basin and that cloth and they washed my feet before putting shoes on my feet, I thought I was going to lose it right there. I thought it wouldn't get any better, but then he said, kill the fatted calf. All of our friends, all of our neighbors, they knew about this calf. They knew about this thing. Dad had been feeding it, saving it for something special, but he said that this was special. He said that his son was home. It's not what I expected at all. My brother went inside and pouted. He was angry, and I can't say I blame him. I can't say I would have reacted any differently. Yeah. It's a day I'll always remember. The day I came home, even the day I decided to go home, you don't forget something like that. The compassion in his eyes, the tear stains on his beard. It seemed he'd been waiting in the driveway every day for me. It seemed he was watching for me, expecting me to arrive at any moment. I'll never forget it. If you found yourself far from home today, if you once knew the Father's warm embrace, but you since ran from His grace, you can come home today. Take that journey. Take that first step. He's waiting for you. And He's going to celebrate when you get home, and it's going to be a day you will never forget. If you want to start that journey, go ahead and start it with me. I want to hold your hand a little bit. I want to help you take those first couple of steps. So if you've backslidden, if you've fallen away from what you once knew, go ahead and say in your own words, Father, I'm so sorry for leaving home. I'm so sorry for leaving. I still love you. I still want to serve you. I want you back in my heart. I want to be back in your heart. I want to be back in your good graces. Help me to live for you. In Jesus' name, amen. And I'll tell you what, if you said that prayer, you can email me at vidministry@gmail.com. That'll come up right down here. If you want to just chat, if you want to ask questions, go ahead and email me. You can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/craftedforexcellence. I'd love to get to know you. I'd love the opportunity to pray for you. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments below. What can I change? What stories would you like to see in the future? Thank you for watching. God bless you. I'll see you later. Bye.